Welcome to my Java course. This will be the second introductory lesson, and this time we'll talk about program development. You can find everything we will talk about in this lesson on page 4 to 6 of the Unit 0 PDF. Now, today's learning objective will be learn about the program development cycle and the major type of errors. There are various steps in the process of creating and running a program. The first step will be write it in appropriate language. The language could be Java, but could be Python, C++, assembly. There are many different languages. The second step will be translate this program in a form that is called executable, a form that the computer can execute. And third and last, you have to execute the program and evaluate its results. Now, errors can happen at every stage in this process. This picture represents a very basic program development cycle. You can see that at every step, if we commit any error, we go back to the first edit and save program. For this step, we will use an application called Editor. An editor will help us to write in the target language. In our case, is Java, the source code. There are many different kind of editor for many different type of language. Later you can learn how to code in Python, C++, assembly. And depending on what you want to do, there are different editor too. For example, we will learn and we will use BlueJ because it's very useful for learning. But when you will go to work, you will probably use another kind of editor, depending on the work you will do. After, another kind of application, another kind of program we can use is called compiler. The compiler will translate our source code in a form of executable code, and this executable code will be specific for the machine we are compiling it. So you can use this executable to any other machine that are similar, but not to different machine. Java, it works slightly different because the slogan when Java came out, the first was Java was work once, work everywhere, because Java was using an interpreter. So the interpreter was, let's say, a layer that help the computer to translate the source code. The source code was translated piece by piece by the interpreter, and so there was not need for the compiler. This way of running a program is for sure easier because you don't have to use a compiler, but it's sometimes slower. All the software we talk about, editor, compiler, interpreter, are all packaged together in a bigger software called usually software development environment. And if we add a graphic interface, we're calling them integrated development environment, IDE. They combine a lot of tools very useful for us to program, to test, to debug our software, and to produce documentation. Again, we will use BlueJ. We will talk about programming errors. This will be our nightmare. We will spend a lot of time correcting these errors. The first kind of error is compile time error. This compile time error, it happens usually because you commit some syntax error, like maybe you forget a semicolon or a parenthesis, or maybe you mistyped a word, you write it wrong. There are also sometimes the compiler error will show up when you try to do something that is logically not correct for the language you're using. For example, if you try to associate to a number a letter, this will stop the compiling of your program and will not produce any executable. The second kind of error is called runtime. Runtime is when you are executing the program and the program will terminate before getting a result. A possible example is a divide by zero error. Divide by zero, of course, cannot happen. And if you try to give a zero divisor, you will find yourself out of the program. The program will end. For avoid this, you can check when you insert data. You can make your program more robust. We will learn how to do this in our program, and it's not difficult to avoid this kind of program when you get used. Last are logical error. Logical error are when the program runs, but the result is not what you expect. So at some point in your code, you write something that is good, is written well, but is not working as you intended. Here you will have to backtrack step by step and try to find the place where you commit this logical error and correct it. This is the most difficult error, and the process to fix this error is called debugging, and usually is the most challenging. You will do this, I still do this, all the program do this, so don't worry. We will learn how to find it and to solve this problem. For today is all. See you next time.